Welcome, beautiful souls, back to the Womanhood Project podcast. It's your host, Lizzie Morris, and this is an episode. Is it like a get to know me, my biases? It's going to cover some things, but it's not going to cover everything. In fact, this might be like a quote controversial episode. However, I am at a place in my life where I no longer people please, and so I don't want to hide my beliefs or thoughts. I don't try to push it on others. However, it's okay to be honest about it, right? I saw an Instagram account share something, and this is what inspired me to actually make this podcast episode. I think her name is A Joyful Birth on Instagram, and she made a post like last year saying like, it is good to share our bias. It is good for people to know like what your core beliefs are. What are some like moral, ethical, like non-negotiables for you? And if you believe different, if you feel differently, and being friends with me or listening to my podcast or following me on social media is in conflict with your morals and ethics and how you see life, then it is absolutely fair and reasonable to unfollow me. Like I don't get offended. I know some people religiously check how many people unfollow them. I check maybe randomly when I'm on my analytics. I'm like, 60 people unfollowed me. Like, okay, that's good. That's good because not everyone is meant for everyone. And I'm not meant for everybody. Thank God for that. And y'all aren't meant for everybody either. So this might share some like more of my negative or like just, I don't know, like the stuff people don't want to talk about. People never used to want to talk politics, and people used to never want to talk birth. Let's talk about that. Like how dads were like left out of the room, and just women were put to sleep. Like people, like there's just so many things that people are like, this is what we don't talk about. You know why people didn't want to talk about it? Because everyone before us were people pleasers. Like, let's be for real. Like, was y'all's moms, grandmas, aunties, uncles, whoever, everyone wanted to just fit in the community. No one wanted to cause a stir. Well, we are in a revolution. So listen, hi, I'm Lizzie, a human rights activist, birth passionate, birth revolutionist, mother, wife. There's so many things I could say. So I think I might just cover, like, I don't think I'm going to do the get to know me. I think that'll be a different episode where I talk about all the fun things, like the get to know me. Oh, like I like to roller skate, and what are my astrological placements? Okay, we will save that for a fun, more lighthearted episode. So I'm just giving you, the heads up now. I'm going to talk about stuff that, might make you feel some type of way. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll agree with everything I say, and you're like, man, this girl is my bitch. Like, hit follow, subscribe, download the episode, tuning in every week from now on, subscribing to the emails, check the show notes if you want to know about that. So if you like this episode, if you agree with anything, if there's anything that resonates, feel free to tag me and share on Instagram at the Lizzie Morris, Lizzie with the Y. It's always in the show notes as well. Okay, so let's start off strong with our triggers are our own responsibility. Nobody else is responsible for our triggers. End of story. I saw Flora Cruz post this today, which was really fitting, that she doesn't add trigger warnings to her content because literally anything you post is going to trigger somebody. They might not comment it, but me posting anything could trigger literally any type of person based on the experiences they have in their life. That does not mean I have to censor myself or try to fit into a box to try to appease everybody, because there's no way. Even when you do that, you will still trigger people. So if you feel triggered by things, I say you, I'm talking generally, this is what I feel. These are my biases, by the way. Let's talk about bias, actually. So with the triggers, right? It goes into our bias. So this episode is about, again, some things I feel very, very strongly about. And some of it, I don't feel like there's room for much argument. Some of it there is. Like, I'm very open-minded, but we'll get into it, okay? So moving on from triggers, moving on from bias, okay? Again, hot topics, okay? I am not anti-vax. I'm not. There was a point I would say I totally, was. I'm not now. Because people should absolutely have the right to do whatever the hell they want with their bodies. Like, I'm so pro bodily autonomy, it's not even funny. This is what I hate. I hate this. I'm about to pop off. We're starting strong. Oh my goodness. Ooh. When people say there is no such thing as vaccine injury, you live in the world's smallest bubble. The same way I feel with people that are pro-life and try to act like the majority of abortions are not from rape cases and like that or young children, and that justifies why we should la 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 la. This is a very tall tale sign that you live, or people that feel this way, that feel like vaccines are the end all be all, and that there's no way children are being harmed, or people have been harmed and continually are harmed by the vaccine schedule. Fuck off. Seriously, because there are literally, and this isn't like debatable, there is a vaccine court that the government has to pay out billions of dollars to injured families. And it's not that it's every single person that gets vaccinated, but to quite literally gaslight families that have watched their children be harmed by vaccines is totally fucked up. Like, these are very things I feel very strongly about. So that's why we're going there. You want to vaccinate your children? I'm not going to say anything about it. If you're going to tell a mom who has a vaccine injured child that there's no way that hours after her baby had their shots that they turn into a completely different child, have never been the same since. Oh, really? But if she ate peanuts, if she did this, if there was how are children and people, how is anyone allergic to, say, Tylenol? How is it possible that people have allergies to almost any type of medication? There's going to be somebody that's going to have a reaction. There is somebody that is going to have some sort of side effect. Maybe it isn't the vast majority, but to gaslight those people that have true real life experiences and to say correlation doesn't equal causation, I want to curse, but I'm going to stop. So I'm very pro do what you want. Don't gaslight people. Big pharma. Anyway, move on. Autonomy is huge for me, if you can't tell. That's my next note. I am so big on autonomy, on you being able to make an autonomous, informed, confident decision. And maybe sometimes when we make decisions around our bodies, around life choices, like, big things, we might not always feel confident. We might not always have every piece of information, but it's about knowing that we did our best in that moment, and that we continually we strive to be respected along the process. And I just feel like that's not happening with people right now. So I'm very pro-choice. I am pro-women's autonomy. So if a woman wants to get an abortion, she absolutely has the right to access that. I'm not going to go into nuances in this. I might. There might be times where I go on little side tangents. I'm going to try not to, because I have so many things. So I'm just going to try to bullet point through them. And if there's anything you want me to, or you're curious on me diving in deeper, we could do separate podcast episodes, or maybe I could do like bonus episodes on those specific topics. But I'm going to try to kind of zoom through these more. And then there's obviously always room for conversation, okay, for a lot of these things. But some there's not, because my next one, something I am anti-routine circumcision. No, you will never convince me, not in the name of religion, not in the name of hygiene, using air quotes. You cannot convince me. No, I've done so much research. It's genital mutilation on babies. And there are... It's one of those things, like one of the extreme cases that for whatever reason that there is procedures that need to be done on a child's penis. They exist, but they are extremely rare. Routine circumcision is genital mutilation. If we were doing it to little girls, everyone would be up in arms. We know this. Yeah, no. Circumcision is male violence. Is violence against males, should I say. I have never done elimination communication, but I actually think I think it's the way. It totally makes sense. I'm not against, obviously, using diapers because all my kids have used diapers, but I think people that shit on elimination communication, no pun intended, they just live in a small bubble. Privilege is a thing. People that try to act like white privilege isn't a thing. Yeah. No, privilege is a thing. Co-sleeping. Oh my gosh. If someone decides not to co-sleep, I understand. Oh my gosh. Again, nuanced conversation. There are people that have like, they sleepwalk, they sleep talk, they kick. There are absolutely people that should not co-sleep with their babies, and we should not make them feel bad about it, but we should absolutely also not be making people feel bad that co-sleep and acting like the only safe sleep position is a baby alone. That is literally harming so many parents and babies. It also is completely harming the family dyad. To be completely against safe co-sleeping, this is why America is so fucked. Just FYI. Other countries have safe co-sleeping practices, and they do it as a culture, and we see fine outcomes. You don't see the same things going on. So, oh gosh, this is fun. Not really. That is sarcasm. Alphabet soup means nothing to me unless I'm like actually seeking out your care and you've earned my trust. So what does alphabet soup mean? Hi, I'm blah, 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 board certified LMNOP QRSTUV. Like, I get there's supposed to be a validation having a degree and an education. That really, you're not going to earn my trust. I don't even trust licensed hairstylists. Literally, maybe I'm the problem. Not really. I have problems though. Yeah, no, I find that when people use their medical degrees or any degree, any licensing, like, oh, I got an education, so I'm better than you. This is a thing. Again, privilege. This is a thing where people think because they have this paid for education through a licensing board, that they are above you when it comes to that subject or, the information that's being presented. And that's bullshit. Just because you paid for that education, like, people aren't, like, everyone is not just dumb. People think everyone's just dumb. And it's annoying. So when I see people, like, I get it, validate your degree. Like, you can say that. But when they use it as like this is why you can't talk about it because you don't have that behind your name. It's like, really? Okay. Like, I'm not a human that can't research and that can't educate myself without paying. Maybe you're just pissed that you paid, hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to school. I don't know. Anyway, I'm being feisty. Okay. So organized religion had a time and place, and I do not believe it does more harm than good. That is my thoughts. I have deconstructed from religion, and I believe it does more harm than good. Absolutely. Organized religion. Purity culture is terrible. It's terrible. And it's very much pushed on the girls and not the boys. It is unequally pushed on women, the young girls in church and wherever. It's probably not just in churches. Yeah, total crap. The whole abstinence thing in schools, trying to teach kids to just not have sex. Is that really working? Like, were you a teenager? Like, did you have hormones? Do you remember being like 16, 17, 18, 19? And it's okay if you didn't have sex at that point, but like, hello, abstinence is not the answer. Purity culture is not the answer. People that think women that don't shave are gross, I really challenge you to evaluate, again, the little small bubble you live in. So I do not shave my leg. Maybe once a year I shave just for the fuck of it. Like, I'll just feel like doing it for fun. But I quit shaving my armpits and, well, basically everything. Let's just say that for the most part. Like, because guess what? And it's okay if you shave. If you shave, like, go for it, sister. But the people that say a woman is gross or that is not ladylike, do you know why shaving for women became a thing? Go research and then come back to me and we'll have a conversation. The patriarchy is dangerous. I said it. And I don't think that a matriarchy is even the full answer either. I don't think that women fully empower, the only women in power makes sense. But the patriarchy is not the answer. And that is what we are dealing with in our culture right now. Licensed midwifery is a scam. Obstetric violence is real. It is a real thing. And I want to say this next part. So the government does not have our best interests at heart. The systems we have in place do not have our best interests at heart. There may have been a time and place where the intention, which really, let's be honest, this country was built on the backs of slaves. It was built on racism. It was built on misogyny. So really, is it really that far-fetched to say there was a time where the intentions were good? I don't, like our country's really, really young. Our government is really crap. We'll stop there. Let's see, what else? Okay, so these are more, I don't know, not as like spicy. So when your intuition screams at you, like if you ever feel that gut feeling, like, oh my gosh, and it's like something in the back of your mind is screaming at you, but you logically can't make sense of it, your intuition will not fail you. Every single time in my life that I've had that extreme, like almost like someone in another realm is literally screaming at me just enough at a high enough frequency where I'm hearing it just enough. And it's hitting me in the gut just enough where I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm having a reaction. Every single time I've had that, my intuition was right every single time. And I know we are taught to ignore our intuition and gaslight ourselves into people pleasing. So when your intuition screams at you, it will not fail. Even if you cannot make logical sense of it, your intuition is so much more valid than statistics, than evidence, than other people's opinions. Please, please know that. Please know that. Your intuition will not fail you. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so something that keeps me extremely humble is I had low milk supply. And we'll do a whole episode about this soon. But I am one of the few, and I hate ever admitting it. Like, I'm slowly not hating it as much. It just is one of those things that, like, I don't want it to be my reality. But again, one of the things I've done extensive research on for years, like half a decade almost. And I have just tried to understand, taken medications, done blood work, done the research. I have insufficient glandular tissue. And that is where you do not have enough mammary tissue to produce enough breast milk for your baby. And it humbles the fuck out of me. Like, when I tell you, I know breastfeeding is not important to some people. And that's, let's talk about that. Again, I'm cool. You want to breastfeed your baby? Cool. You want to formula feed your baby? Cool. I'm not about shaming people. However, breast milk is the most best nutritional option for babies. Your triggers are your own responsibility. When I was going through low milk supply with my first, I was so triggered seeing breastfeeding. Oh my gosh. I had to unfollow people. I'm not at that place anymore, but I had to unfollow pages. I had to leave Facebook groups. I could not handle it. It broke me. It would just gut me seeing all these women having this experience that I thought I was supposed to have, and not even just supposed to have. I wanted it. It wasn't even the expectation. Which actually kind of is about the expectation. Where there is an expectation. There's nothing wrong with this. Another controversial thing. there's nothing wrong with a woman expecting for her body to be able to birth her baby and her breast to be able to feed her baby. That as an expectation is not wrong. Does it not work out sometimes, like in my case? Yes. But how dare I try to go on a beautiful breastfeeding post where a mother is celebrating and showing other women this is what's possible for like 90% of women, probably a bigger population, because they suspect IGT is around 10% of the population, but who knows? It's kind of hard when our breastfeeding is not supported in America anyway. So it's probably less than that. It's probably more like 2% to 5% of the population that cannot breastfeed successfully. And 10% maybe being the highest. So 90% of women could easily breastfeed their babies as they should if that's what they want to do. And how dare I, because I'm upset that my body is having a mishap, that I go on another woman's post and be like, well, some women can't breastfeed. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, come on. And I'm sure I've done that many times, like years ago when I had my first. Yeah, I'm sure I did it. I can't remember specifics. I'm sure I did. How terrible. And that's when I had to start taking accountability for myself. So low milk supply has very much kept me humble in the way that it was a trigger that like just, it was just there all the time. Because I would see more women breastfeeding. I mean, even though, I don't know, breastfeeding rates and all these different rates vary everywhere. But I was seeing a lot of women breastfeed. Some people say they don't see anyone breastfeed. I was seeing everyone breastfeed. And I was like the only one, you know? So it humbles me. It reminds me, and here's how it humbles me in other ways. It humbles me when it comes to birth, that there are women who, no matter what they do, so like for instance, placenta previa, like that woman is, I mean, I guess you always have a choice, but I think most women would choose to go ahead and go with a cesarean. That doesn't mean the cesarean is bad. What I mean is that for a woman who, like me, when I envisioned being able to breastfeed my baby as I should have that expectation, nothing wrong with that expectation. And for a woman, if she's expecting to like have a, you know, low risk, healthy vaginal birth, and then to find out that there is this actual thing that, you know what, she feels most comfortable getting that medical attention, but she still can feel like there's still that feeling. And not just like, there's so many other little things that could pop up, but it reminds me that while most women, can absolutely have an easy, smooth vaginal delivery. Yes, most women. I will never forget, like, I'm not going to make content about all the small, like, percentages of people who it affects, because literally there's, like, these extreme rare cases of, like, 1 in a million type stuff. Like, that's not where my expertise is. But I don't forget those women that have felt like there was no choice. Like, there was only one choice they felt like made sense. Right? Their choices, their options were limited based on anatomy, based on things outside of their control, aka all those things I mentioned before: low milk supply, placenta previa type stuff, placental abruption, like, you know, the crazy stuff that happens that it's like, dang, we're really out of options here, and that sucks. But then, and they're different, but like, how can we move on from that? So anyway, so I went into a lot more detail about that one. Cannabis is queen. And just like any other herb or medication, just like I talked about earlier with vaccines, I mean, just it's natural. It's an herb. Does not mean people will not have bad effects from it. For me and for a lot of people, oh my gosh, do you know how many less people would be drinking if cannabis was legal throughout the United States? I think they're terrified that people are going to actually be happy. Like, you know what I mean? Cannabis saved my life. And in fact, it started off with CBD oil, which, if you don't know, like, all forms like CBD, marijuana, like, they're all cannabis. Like, it's under the cannabis family. So cannabis changed my life. It actually helped me get over my binge eating. I would love to do more of a story time on that one day. but cannabis is amazing, and I hate the stigma around it. It's terrible. And the fact that people are incarcerated over it, and the fact that people get their, like, the terrible things that have happened to people over their use of cannabis is just crap. It saves people. The same way some of those pharmaceutical drugs do save people. And then how would I be wrong? I would be wrong to say that you can never have a bad reaction to cannabis. Oh my gosh, people have some really crazy reactions to cannabis, but also some people have some really great reactions. So I love it. Changed my life. Controversial topic though. Okay. Apologizing to kids is important. I am far from the perfect parent. Oh my gosh. I'm not even going to get into parenting much, but recognizing when you're actually really like kind of being an ass and just getting frustrated with your kid being a kid, like, apologize. Oh my gosh. This is where like the change is happening, I think, in our generation, is that parents, like, I love my parents. It's not even to out them, but like, I do not remember getting an apology when they were totally like out of left field. I have empathy for them. Like, parenthood's hard, but they never apologized. And I don't feel, it's fine. But I know I want my kids to know, if I know I crossed the line, or if I yelled too much and like it was obviously a me problem, like, I'm going to tell you, I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that. And I need to work on myself. I tell my kids that. I'm pretty honest with my kids. They watch birth videos. I don't hide stuff from them like that. Yeah. I think it's important to apologize to children. I mean, anybody, right? Anyone. But, you know, a lot of people don't like apologizing to kids. And it's a pride thing. And it's silly. Radical responsibility, in my opinion, is the key to self-healing. We'll do more talking about radical responsibility throughout the podcast as time goes on, because it's such like a deep conversation, and like it includes so many different facets of like areas of your life where you have to take that radical responsibility. Like, you have to address so many different places of your existence. But I have found to heal a lot of the wounds that have been inflicted on me throughout my journey just of life, but also motherhood, womanhood, things of that nature. When I came to a place of taking responsibility, not saying that what happened to me was okay, but like, I played a part in some of it. And that's not victim blaming. So I'm talking about myself. That's why I said, like, in my opinion, for myself, radical responsibility is the key to self-healing, because, you know, the midwife that transferred me last time, I have a lot of PTSD from it. But you know what? I ignored all the red flags. I ignored my intuition and the screaming gut feeling. I made the choice to keep her around. Doesn't make it okay what happened? No. But I made the choice to keep the woman around. What the hell was wrong with me? I was people pleasing. Hello. But I still made that choice. Nobody put a gun to my head. And when I started doing that with a lot of situations in my life, that was like, again, there's a fine line of like not excusing abuse. Like, hello, we're not doing that. We're not going to excuse people manipulating and coercing. But where did you play the part? I recognize where I played the part, and it has helped me move on from a lot of it. It has helped me actually process and say, okay, this is why this happened. And you know what? When I did that, it has helped me avoid a lot of those same problems again. When I've actually processed what did I do to play a part in it, I now know how to not play that part again. I now know how to not even just avoid the situation, but just how to actually own my shit and not try to do something because I'm scared someone's going to be pissed at me, or I'm nervous, or I have anxiety that like, what if it doesn't work out? Or like, no, I'm going to just own my shit. This is how I feel. This is what I want to do. This is what my body, my intuition's telling me. And I'm going to, so it made me take ownership of my life. Radical responsibility is key to self-healing, baby. You can love yourself, you can love your body and still want to change things about it. There's like this extreme with like the body positive movement, and like you can't lose weight, you can't like want to do anything to your body. No, you can absolutely, like, I love my body. I love my stretch marks. I literally love my body so much. My body has been through hell and back. I'm 27 years old, and I feel like the things my poor body has been through, honey, she is a warrior. praise my body. I still want to change things about it. It's not that I hate it. I have an apron stomach with loose skin. Oh my gosh. As I lose more weight, which I'm like starting to again for my own health reasons, I want this apron chopped off. I don't even have to justify that to anybody. Nobody has to justify it to me why they want to do that. You don't have to tell me, like, just because you love yourself and you want to go get surgery, you want to go do this, like, how I can't sit there and tell you don't love yourself, like, because you want to go do those things. It's your body. Absolutely. You should do whatever you want. Hello, autonomy. Oh my gosh. People love controlling other people. What is wrong? I don't get it. I have some more, but I think that's like the gist of it, honestly. That's my big things, you know. I probably could think of some other crazy stuff, but you know, if you vibe, if I missed things that you'd like me to address, like, again, feel free to share. Message me on Instagram, email me, do whatever. Oh, I really didn't go into birth stuff. Did I? That would be like a whole 45-minute episode in itself. So these are like my general biases in like life. But we will do a whole other episode like in season 3. So this is the end of season 2. Thank you for being here. Season 3 is going to be launching in shortly. So just stick around, subscribe to the show. I guess probably next week. I don't know. Season 3 will be coming soon. And in season 3, we will totally do a birth bias, like get to know me, how I feel about birth episode. Obviously I did talk about like pro-choice and all that, but there's a lot more to it. So we can get into that. If you never want to hear from me again, make sure to unfollow the show and block me everywhere. But if you've really vibed, thanks for sticking around. Welcome to the Womanhood Project podcast. I can't wait to see you join in the conversation and join the radical responsibility and self-healing and birth revolution movement. What a time to be alive. All right. Love you guys. Appreciate you. If you want to give the podcast a 5-star review after hearing this or any of the other episodes, by the way, make sure you do so and tag me on social media as well so I can give you a shout out for giving that review. All right. Love you guys. Appreciate you. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.